There are extremely many blocks and items in Minecraft that you can get in survival mode. This is unfortunate, but there are reasons for it. Why would you need a barrier block if you're playing a single-player game? Doesn't make sense? I think so. If you really need something, you can always grab an item from the creative menu. So, I was wondering, is there any way to get forbidden items without the creative menu in survival mode? The answer is of course. Only for this, you're gonna try a little bit harder. Now you'll understand everything. Let me start by saying that in the full release of version 1.21, we don't have the option to just get all the forbidden items. It would be really stupid of the developers to leave such a possibility. We'll resort to the official ability to use unstable versions of Minecraft and get the items or blocks we want. I'd like to start from the portal to the Nether. Yeah, we can create this small structure in survival without any problems, even without resorting to mining diamonds and obsidian blocks. But to get the portal as the block itself is impossible. Only if we do not roll back to the beta version of Minecraft. Beta 1.6 test build 3 to be exact. As soon as we go into this version, we'll have the opportunity to create a world. After creation, we see 9 single chests appear exactly in front of our character. They contain all the existing blocks in the game, meaning this beta version. For example, there's a block of fire, from which you can safely create chainmail armor, moreover a full set. There's a connection of redstone dust, it has a white texture, although when placing it on a block, it becomes red, and when destroying it, we'll get ordinary redstone. You can notice another block of grey grass, it has no name in the game, and if you place it on the block, we get a dead bush. In one of the chests there is a block of lava and water, but most of all we're interested in the portal. As an item, it looks exactly like the one on the bedrock, a fully cubic block, but if you place it on the floor, it becomes the same flat block as it always was. It can even teleport us to a dark and creepy dimension, the Nether. So we can get the portal item and put it in our inventory. What about getting a barrier block as an item? This block serves as an invisible barrier that cannot be destroyed or seen. If the player holds this item in their hands, they'll be able to see where these blocks are placed. In general, this block is intended for people who create their own maps or for servers, so it's possible to get a barrier block as an item. The easiest way is to get it in an April Fool's snapshot, one block at a time. The thing is that in this version, the player can hold only one block in his hands, and there's literally no such thing as an inventory in the game. Because of this, there are a lot of different and most importantly unusual mechanics. We're only interested in the Enderman. Every Enderman in this version appears with a block in his hands, and it doesn't matter what kind of block it is. For example, as soon as I entered the end, I immediately met an Enderman that holds a block of the portal frame to the end. To pick up the block, you have to pick up the Enderman in your arms, then look up so he starts being aggressive, and then just throw him away. Once he comes up, we take the block for ourselves and he just walks away. It looks crazy, don't you think? This way, with a 0.11% chance, we can get a barrier block in an Enderman's hands, which we can put in our inventory. Yeah, it takes quite a long time to get it, but still, a legal way after all. In addition to the item, we can also find a barrier block simply in the regular vanilla world. Yeah, believe me, there's nothing complicated about it. To do this, you need to download the snapshot number 20W16A. In this snapshot, they added Bastion Remnant as a full-fledged structure for the first time. So, in the Bastion Remnant, in the treasure room to be more precise, there are lava basins. And in one lava basin, the developers forgot to remove the barrier block, so you can just see it. You need to drain the lava, but it's there. Thus, you can easily see the barrier block right in the vanilla Minecraft without using cheats. So, it turns out our conditional inventory already has 2 forbidden items. The portal to the Nether, the barrier block, and the frame of the portal to the end. But still, I feel we're missing something else. How about Uncraftable Potion? How do you get it if you can't create it? Oh, it's very simple. To do that, we'll go to snapshot 16W38A. It's almost unremarkable except for the fact that they added a new game rule to the game. Do weather cycle, which is responsible for weather change. It's a very handy one. So, if in this snapshot or in 2 more, 17W47B and 17W48A, the player is fishing and catches the potion as a junk item, item, it'll have the official name Uncraftable Potion. If the player drinks this potion, no effects will be inflicted on him. But in general, the texture of this item was used in older versions for the Creative Potions tab and as the icon for the local brewery achievement. In general, there are no more uses for this type of potion, but there's no way to obtain it. I should add that in the same version, you can get Splash Potion and Lingering Potion. To do this, you first need to throw Uncraftable Potion into the cooking rack and add gunpowder to it. As a result, we get Splash Potion. And after adding to the Splash Potion a Dragon's Breath, we get Lingering Potion. I think you already understand that since we have Uncraftable Potion, it won't be difficult to create uncraftable tipped arrows. Since we have a portal block to the Nether in our inventory, why don't we get a portal block to the End? As it turns out, that's not too hard either. We'll have to resort to the beta version of the game again, beta 1.9 pre-release 3 to be exact. In general, several versions of the third pre-release were released, as Notch simply forgot to remove debugging blocks, including the End portal frame block and the End portal itself. There are major differences. They don't have a name, and the texture in the inventory is flat. Meanwhile, the portal texture looks like a discolored block of dirt. But no worries, if you place a portal to the End, it will be fully functional. As soon as the player enters it, he'll be teleported to a new dimension. However, there'll be no dragon there, and unfortunately, the portal back will be absent too. And in general, the island will look very weird, but we were able to get a new block. Remember when anvils were first added to the game? I was most impressed by the fact that they could be dropped on the heads of players and mobs like in cartoons. As soon as they were first added to the game, they brought quite a few forbidden items, for example, the Nameless Item. Yeah, any untitled item fits this description, but will generally fit this into a conditional diamond. Let it be so. To get such an item, we need to download snapshot 12W41A. It was in this snapshot where the anvil first appeared. All we need to do is to get the anvil, place it, find somewhere a few levels, take an item that will not have a name and place it in the anvil. In our case, it will be a diamond, but it can be any item or even a block. Then we remove the name of the item and take it from the anvil. Simple as that, the nameless item has now appeared in our inventory. I hope you haven't forgotten that in Minecraft there is an unused effect of luck. You cannot get it without the use of the command, but there are also potions for this effect. But they cannot be brewed in survival. Many players think that this effect affects fortune when mining ore, but in fact, so far it only affects fishing. In other words, with this effect, the player will fish up the best items and treasures out of the water. So far, there are several ways to get this potion in the game, but first let me tell you how you can get a processed arrow with this effect. Starting with a snapshot 19W11A and ending with a 19W14B, a master level Fletcher villagers with a 4.17% chance can spell tipped arrow for 2 emeralds and 5 regular arrows. The first way to get a potion of luck in the 3D shareware V1.34 version. This is the April Fool's update that came out in 2019. In this version, burning barrels are generated around the world, inside of which we can see various items. In a barrel with a chance of 10.9%, you'll be able to find a potion of luck of all kinds, as well as processed arrows. The second method is another April Fool's version of 23W13A_or_B. In case you forgot, in this version the player has to vote for various updates in the game. One such vote was fishing everything, which allowed you to fish up various items out of the water, including everything related to the potion of luck. The third and so far the last way also lies in the April Fool's version, and the latest 24W14 potato. But there's a problem, so to speak. The thing is that instead of an object, we get only the effect of luck. If you place 8 blocks of gold around the poisonous potato, we get enchanted gold poisonous potato. One of the effects after eating it will be luck of the 5th level for 5 minutes. Thus, we can say that in our inventory there are all kinds of potions of luck, even a tipped arrow. The next thing I'd like to show you doesn't quite fit our format, but we can get water in the Nether. Yeah, the ways of extracting water in this dimension are extremely numerous, even too many. But we're here looking for the simplest ones. Not too long ago, on a snapshot 21W03A, a glowing lichen, when placed in a block of lava, created a block of water instead. This was discovered in the overworld, and then came up with the brilliant idea to place them in the Nether. This method also worked, and without any complications, in a similar way you can cool the entire Nether and make a lot of obsidian blocks. Of course, our inventory can't do without specialty items. What about overstacked items? You know that each item in Minecraft has a certain amount that fits in a stack. These are 1, 16, and 64. It's not that interesting. Let's try to get an item that can only be one in a stack, for example, a bow. To do that, I'm gonna go to snapshot 17W17A. All I have to do is load my inventory with blocks, then throw away the item we want to increase, and try to create a block through the recipe book, without creating it, of course. In this way, we're trying to trick the game and literally pass off wishful thinking. If you're quick enough, the game will think that the picked up item is the result of our crafting with the help of the recipe book. Sounds extremely confusing, I can get that, but in reality, you need to practice for a few minutes and you'll succeed. I'll admit that it took me about 10 minutes to get a stack of bows. So, our inventory is replenished with an overstacked item, but still lacks its twin brother, the understacked item. Roughly speaking, a block or an item that has a negative amount. This time to make such an item is quite difficult, but in any case, doable. To do this, we need a chest, dynamite, an object to which will reduce the number, and the reaction of the mongoose. First of all, we need to place the chest and put the item on its first slot. Then near the chest, you need to put dynamite. This is where the main tricky part starts. After we set the dynamite on fire, we need to point the cursor at the item extremely quickly and press 1 on the keyboard, as it's transferring the item from the inventory to the chest. If you manage to do this during the explosion, before the chest closes, it drops an item with a 0 or minus amount. It's difficult, very painful, but after practicing for about 5 to 10 minutes, everything will work out. You know, I look at our inventory and realize that it seems like there's a lack of some object in which we could carry all this, don't you agree? I hope you already guessed that I'm talking about bundles. Yeah, the very item that still cannot become part of the full-fledged family of Minecraft. Now we have the opportunity to include it as an experimental innovation in the game. But in any case, there's the use of conditional cheats. From snapshot 20W45A to 21W18A, players had the opportunity to create them without any problems. The crafting recipe was in the game. For this, it was necessary to get 6 units of rabbit leather and 2 strings. After that, we could get an item in our inventory with the help of which it was possible to store up to 64 items inside. Finally, let's get another impossible book of enchantments, namely the multi-shot of the 12th level. How about that? To do this, we have to go back to the April Fool's snapshot 3D Shareware V1.34. Here we have 2 ways to do it. A crossbow that will have this enchantment could appear in a burning barrel. Levels can range from the 2nd to 12th. The second way is a cheat code. Yeah, I remember that we shouldn't use them, but this is a legal cheat code. If you type the word Moridaka, the game will give you enchanted armor and a crossbow with level 12 enchantments. This is how we were able to get a lot of forbidden items just in survival mode without cheats. And most importantly, in a legal way. Write in the comments if you've ever tried to get any forbidden item in this way, and if you want the next part, then give this video a like. While you're waiting for a new video, I suggest you watch these, they're also very interesting. Subscribe to the channel, put your thumbs up, ring the bell, and I see you next time.